Can Ukraine create strong offensive formations that would be able to carry out a strong counter-offensive against Russian aggressors? While it is a major understatement to suggest that building an offensive force will be a monumentally difficult task, it is, nevertheless, possible. The first step for Ukraine to have enough time to create this new force is to find a way to stop Russia's drive in the Donbas. Then Ukraine have to build additional defensive lines east of the Donbas to ensure Russia could not make a single breakthrough and put Kiev or other major cities at risk before it had time to complete the offensive force. The first thing Kiev would have to do is determine how many new troops it would take to uproot Russian troops from Ukrainian territory. As of this writing, Russia occupies roughly 1/5 of Ukraine, or 125,000 square kilometers. Russia entered Ukraine with as many as 190,000 troops. It is unclear how many are still there, as tens of thousands of Russians are reported to have been killed and wounded thus far, but there are likely still in the range of 150,000 or more occupying parts of Ukrainian territory. Ideally, Ukraine would need to build a new offensive force of 200,000 to provide overmatch at key points on the battlefield. Finding that many qualified soldiers in a short period of time may prove to be a bridge too far. Nevertheless, if Kiev has any hopes of driving entrenched Russian troops out of its country, 100,000 is the bare minimum needed. That pool of soldiers would be needed to form at least 75 battalion tactical groups, equipped with sufficient numbers of capable tanks, self-propelled artillery pieces, modern air defense systems, reconnaissance and attack drones, and sufficient logistic troops to keep all that gear fueled and operating. Each of these Ukrainian BTG would be composed of approximately 800 troops, totaling 60,000 soldiers. Ukraine would additionally need at least 20,000 general-purpose infantry troops for combat replacements, as well as another 20,000 for logistics, supplies, and maintenance personnel. This 100,000-member force would ultimately be formed into 3 field armies, each composed of 25 BTGs. Within each field army, the BTGs would be composed of a mixture of tank-heavy groups, infantry-heavy groups, and artillery-heavy groups. They would be modular in concept, so they could be task-organized based on a given mission. For example, in one tactical operation, a certain grouping of BTGs may need to fight a battle that requires many foot soldiers and so would be weighted more heavily with infantry and artillery BTGs and less with tanks. Other fights would prioritize armor and be weighted with fewer infantry BTGs. To equip all the BTGs in the 3 field armies, that would require Ukraine to field somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,250 tanks, 2,000 armored vehicles, 750 self-propelled howitzers, and close to 1,000 trucks of various sizes and functions. If Western countries cannot or will not provide equipment to this scale, any hope of Ukraine fielding a force strong enough to repel an entrenched Russian army is stillborn. If Kiev was somehow able to build a massive field army of 500,000 or more, they could consider forming a broad counteroffensive that sought to overwhelm Russia's defenses across a front of hundreds of miles and try to sweep them from the country. They might then covertly reinforce the defense on the north and south of the designated attack zone to protect their flanks from unexpected Russian counterattack, and then launch a massive attack at the time and place of Ukraine's choosing, catching Russian troops unprepared. Across a front of perhaps 50 miles, the Ukrainian armed forces would attack with 2 of their field armies abreast. On the other hand, we do not have to count on a huge counteroffensive that would expel all Russian units from Ukraine. Now a strong counterattack would be enough to throw the Russians off balance, and the Warthog Defense predicts that this counterattack will happen to Kherson, and that in this way Ukrainian units will re-isolate Crimea and open space for the liberation of the southern Ukrainian coast and re-liberation of Mariupol. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.